This one is entitled Soul Searching. As our young and intrepid heroes arrive at Burtonville, which is now more like a ghost town than anything else, which, you know, is quite funny since they had to go through an army of ghosts just to get here. Landing at Burtonville with the Gun Maidens Company. This company of the Army of Mitzelberg occupying this town, ensuring that the mayor and citizens of Burtonville don't see this as an aggressive military occupation. Our heroes, Michaelis and Lucas, handled the dealings with the mayor to inform them that they're here to help in any way that they can, being that there's a threat of the pre-existing evildoers and now some form of ghost army to the north. After taking care of this, Lucas would have had a chat with Emerson, which is the NCO of his of his fire team, about needing to learn more about, you know, the ghosts, spirits, about how Belladonna's powers work, and maybe even a little bit more about himself. Says he needs to get to Akasha, which is an independent power far, far to the southeast. Sorry. Far to the southeast. And Emerson, being the good military officer that he is, who never, ever breaks protocol, agrees to lend his ship, his small skiff that carries his fire team, to get to Akasha. And, you know, as long as he's the only one there with minimal supplies, he can get there quickly, but get the information he needs and get back as fast as possible. Because the LT, he's not going to like it if he finds out what happens. So, we see, high in the air, with clouds dancing upon his scales, the wind blowing his scarf, you know, reacting magnificently as he sails alone on this skyship. Lucas, how are you?
Running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Every now and then I yell out a command, Vex, pull that line!
Vex will, you know, not know what exactly to do, but he'll pull whatever you tell him to pull.
So it's me and a four-tailed fox flying a skyship.
Yep, they're flying, and this is not as small as Jenny's ship. You know, this Jenny's ship could hold roughly about 10 small, you know, people, not necessarily including cargo space. This, it's about 50% larger than her ship. It's a lot more sturdy than her ship, and you have a lot more supplies on the ship than you did on the way to Mitzelberg. Seeing as this journey is going to take you quite a bit of time. So it takes you, you know, you fly as fast as possible. It's going to take you a full 10 days to get to Akasha. And that's with all the stress of trying to pilot this thing alone with Vex. Catching a few moments of magnificent glory, you know, in between. You do, though, however, while flying, you know, you've passed the Wolfwood. You've flew over the bulk of the Lorelei woods. And just as you can see Vidimir in the distance, you see a small, you know, an individual in the distance that your ship is coming up to. and he's on a quite large and ornate flying carpet. And that's you, Oliver. And you're also heading to Akasha.
So on this flying carpet, you see a young human boy, just coming parallel to the ship, and he looks over casually, looking right at Lucas. Hello.
Lucas, hey, what? Shit!
Oh, I'm terribly
Max,
sorry.
hold that lever! Hello!
Oh. It's okay. Do not panic. I'm not falling.
No. When I turned to say hello, I almost blew up the ship because I let go of that. Believe it or not, flying one of these by yourself is not easy.
My name is Oliver. Very nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Oliver. My name is Lucas Lowenkai. My friends call me Loki.
Hello, Loki.
And where might you be heading?
Akasha.
As am I.
Oh, really?
I don't know how long your carpet can fly, but would you like to board the skyship?
Well, my carpet is infinite, but sure.
Yeah, this thing's not. I could use the extra pair of hands.
Well, I'll see about that. It's very interesting. And on the flying carpet, Oliver makes his landing, settles, but you notice him with a walking aid.
Don't really say anything about it. On your way up on the steps, there's a wooden lever to your left with a red metal cap. Pull it 3/4 of the way down and then turn it clockwise, 360 degrees.
Oh, sorry. Will you send that to me?
Yes, Oliver.
Oh.
Otherwise, we're going to fall from the sky.
Oh, that would be unfortunate. I will assist, of course. And Oliver does so.
Also, after you...
Presuming that these levers are not very, very tight. If they are, you would see Oliver struggling with these things until he moves them.
All right.
Afterwards, I'm like, oh, by the way, if you want something to eat, we got plenty of supplies.
Oh, thank you.
I was kind of... a friend of mine from a gnomish brigade lended me this ship.
It's quite extraordinary.
Yes, great gnomish design. Pretty sure the fact that it's taken me 10 days to get down here, the LT knows about it by now, and he's probably been court-martialed.
That sounds really terrible.
You just see a picture, like, appear, like a subtitle, like, picture in picture. And you see Emerson just sitting there like a little child, looking up, and there's a silhouette of a shadow cast right down the center of him. And one little anime sweat goes by his brow. The PIP goes away.
Yeah, Emerson's a great dude, but he does not think things through very well. I probably should have taken the ship, but I really needed to get to Akasha.
Want to further your study?
I have many things that I need to study in Akasha. You notice he kind of lets go of the wheel, and as he does, Vex immediately steps in, grabs the wheel with his mouth, and starts steering.
An extraordinary cat.
You just hear Vex.
I'm just going to get some food, Vex. Unfortunately, I need to eat.
So yeah, you guys finish. It's only about a day's more travel from the point you meet Oliver. You fly over Vitamir. You can see the clearing in the middle of the forest of Vitamir, and there is several towering towers, with obviously large arcane baubles. There's arcing lightning jumping between the towers, but the lightning is augmented. The lightning doesn't look like normal. Lightning it is different colors. There's purples and sometimes there's red lightning, and once in a few flashes you see pure black lightning arcing through, which is something you've probably never seen before. And bringing the skyship sort of down, you can feel like winds start to whip up, and your skyship starts slowly spinning in place, and it's really hard to get a handle. The best you could do is just to spin in place before you see an individual on your ship standing there. It's a fairly lean Yeti. And he's standing there with his arms behind his back, much in the same way you would see a relaxed soldier doing, like the at ease position.
Yeah. I immediately move from the wheel, and Vex once again comes in to catch it with his mouth. Greetings, good sir. My name is Lucas Lowenkai, though you may call me Loki.
He sort of ignores you, raising one of his brows and slowly turning to look at Vex before turning his head back to you, still in that at ease position. And you've come here why?
Knowledge. To gain knowledge.
Flying through the sky is not very polite. Descending on us from above.
I needed to get her quickly, unfortunately.
And you see him he's standing there at ease, and for the first time he moves a hand from behind his one of his hands from behind his back, and simply waves it. And as he does, in the motion of his wave, it seems the rotating forces die down, and they grow very calm.
I apologize for the impoliteness of arriving on a sky ship, but the knowledge I seek is of dire importance.
The knowledge of Akasha is for Akashites. You are someone I don't recognize.
I am a sorcerer from Polymar.
He grins off the side of his face, and then looks slowly back at Vex again, before creaking his gaze back at you. He goes, yes, that you are.
My companion is Vex. You can speak with him if you wish.
That I can.
I said, he just basically said he understands Ether talking.
But yeah.
Interesting.
He goes, And then now, finally, turning his head, he looks at the young Oliver. And you?
Oh, my name's Oliver. Pleased to meet you.
Nods his head. I am Sarken.
And Oliver nods likewise.
being that all is in a journey of knowledge, shall we proceed?
I would like that very much.
And he opens his mouth to talk, but you don't hear one voice. You hear dozens. Like whispers, much in the same way as if Vex were to talk to you. Loki. And being that you understand ether talk, he says, Vex, please be kind enough to take us down. And he just waits for the compliance.
Yeah, Vex will do what he can, and Loki will go back up and also continue to help take it down. And this is when you first notice Vex actually doing something now that they're trying the landing. You haven't seen him do this before. He's usually just been darting around the ship, grabbing on things with his mouth. He's actually using his tails to pull levers and his mouth.
So you guys slowly descend. This is a pretty, given the size of the forest of Vidimir, this is a sizable clearing. It's very large. So you find a nice flat spot, set the ship down. The entire time, without moving, Sarkin is standing there in that same at ease position, and he's examining the Vex. As Vex takes, the ship down. Once you reach the floor, he walks over to where the gangplank would be, the little door, and just says, shall we?
Yes, let me lower the gangplank. I reach over, pull a lever. I'm assuming the gangplank is automated.
Yeah. It starts going down, but before it goes down, Sarkin takes a step towards it, and you see him, he becomes an image akin to dropping a single droplet of ink in water, and then that droplet flies down to the ground beside the ship before you see it reforming into Sarkin. And he's still standing there in that at ease position.
I walk down the gangplank because I can't do that. Vex can fly.
And Oliver would click his fingers on his magic carpet. Disappears, and he starts to he straightens and slowly and carefully walks down this plank, hobbling actually.
Noticing you're struggling, Sarkin asks, do you need assistance?
And Oliver just raises his hand just like this. No, thank you.
Good. And he just turns to slowly start walking towards one of the towers. As you guys start walking, following him through the clearing, you're noticing that there's a lot of individuals casting certain spells. They're, mixing, using your abilities to see magic. You start learning that they're actually trying to mix techniques, mix spells together, use spell school, opposing spell schools in tandem. Most of the time, failing and having magic blow up in their faces. Being a sorcerer, you see other sorcerers, summoning ghosts and geists, walking through walls. And finally, in the middle of everything, there seems to be, a few dozen very disciplined individuals, much like the Queen's sort of soldiers. They don't move, they don't budge. You can tell they're alive, but they have very little signs of life. They're just standing there in full armor, and they're all facing outward, surrounding this giant fountain. And as you guys draw to the tower, Sarkin slowly opens the door. He says, "After you."
Vex and I will walk in. Kind of look down at Vex. This place is amazing. Also looking at him and say, I think that guy knew what you were the second he saw you.
All right, so you guys.
And Oliver would also enter, looking quite amazed, saying, "You'd hear him as you've been journeying, and he's obviously taking his time. He's been saying behind them, fascinating, fascinating."
You see Lucas kind of adjusting his dirty clothes, like he's been through 2 battles. He's run out of provisions from his good gear bundle, and like he's still got his clothes are all dirty from the soot of like the flying ship and everything. He just looks really uncomfortable being this dirty.
All right, so you guys, Sarkin waits for Oliver to get through. He's very patient. He's very patient with Oliver, waiting for him to finish his way through before entering in. And, follow me. I will introduce you to the head of this house, Zomnorin. He looks, Zomnorin. Remember his name.
Thank you very much. I apologize for having to be introduced looking so disheveled.
He goes, raises his hands, and you see shadows like starting to writhe up and crawl across your form, Lucas. And you feel your clothing being moved around as the shadows start going down. You're a little bit more well kept and less dirty.
Thank you very much.
He nods his head. But very slowly.
Oliver is dressed very pristinely. He has a classical schoolboy look to him.
So he walks over. He walks you guys over. Now the hall that you're in is about. It could easily fit an ogre. Easily. This hall is huge, right? It's huge and it's pretty vacant. Like you could hear the footfalls of everyone in your group, and you could also hear the. It's a small bass tone as torches begin to flicker on down the hall as you're walking to illuminate your path. And you get to a large door. Sarkin motions to the door. This door must be opened by prospective students before they are to be considered. And then he takes 2 steps back and goes back into that at ease position. So he's waiting for you guys to try to open this huge door.
Can I see what kind of does it look like there's any magic on the door?
Very, very little.
Reach forward and attempt to open it.
By pushing it.
How does it look like it opens? Does it look like it pulls open, pushes open?
It looks like a door. Push or pull, whatever you like. What's your awesome power?
0.5.
Yeah, you can't open it. You can't budge it. Not even in the slightest.
Huh. Interesting.
Would you like to try, Oliver?
Is this opening the door?
Yeah.
Is the doorknob in reach, or does it? Is it...
There's no knob.
Yes.
You know,
I'm seeing that. He saw that Loki couldn't open the door. Oliver just, oh, fine, I'll try. He proceeds to try and open this door.
How does he try to open the door?
What kind of door is this, sir?
What happened?
What kind of door is this? Is it?
It's a large door. It looks like it's made of stone. It looks like a normal door. It has very fine sort of spacing around the edges. You could fit your fingers in and try to pull it, or you could try to push it. And it's very unassuming.
So Oliver nods, and he starts to trace his hand around the sides of it, feeling for any arcane magics that would activate it.
I mean, if you were detecting magic or searching for any arcane visuals or carvings, there might be a few, but it just feels like it's very weak. Like very low level power.
Well, Oliver's starting to feel that he's being tested.
But how would Oliver try to open this door? What does his first attempt look like?
So what does the symbols say on it? The symbols. What does the symbols say?
It's... Roll me an Arcana check.
$20.
20? Yeah, the symbol, what you can decipher from your investigation of the magical forces of this that are imbued into this door is that it's locked. And that's it. It's magically locked.
And the Yeti is just observing, yes?
Yeah, he's just waiting. He's waiting for one of you to open the door.
Okay. Oliver casts infinite space on it.
You cast infinite space?
Yeah.
You can feel your magic being pulled in. Your infinite space doesn't work. Or the door absorbs your magic.
Interesting.
At what level was infinite space?
Oh, he didn't overcharge it.
Okay, so it's level 1?
Yeah.
Alright.
Loki's going to say, as he's been sitting here studying this door, I think I have an idea. I'm going to attempt a spell shatter.
Okay.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
No,
21.
you get it. You get it. You get it. You attempt to spell shatter, and you hear there's like a flash, like there was an invisible sheen on the door. You see the magic fizzle away, and they hear a large clunk. The door begins to creak open before you hear a large clunk, and then see the bottom of the door touch the floor, and it kind of cracks a little bit. And yeah,
Oliver smiles, looks at Luffy. Clever, well done.
Thank you. I think I may have broken their door.
I don't think so.
That is the usual approach. And the Yeti walks over to the door, and just starts pushing it open as it scratches the floor after you.
I walk in. You said his name was
Sarken.
Sarkin. Sorry, I couldn't find my Loki page quickly enough. And the other guy was Morkosh.
No, Zomnorin.
Zomnorin. Okay. Zomnorin. Got it. Thank you.
You probably should be nice enough to type this in the chat.
Darkan and Sephiroth.
Yeah, Zomnorin. I don't know if I spelled it correctly, but... Oh, I really didn't spell Sarkin correctly. I was close on that one.
So he opens the door, waits for you guys to walk in. You might hear him mutter something in several different voices. Looking back, you can see the floor start to mend itself. And, you know, a few steps in, again, much in the same way as the previous hall, there's torches that, you know, blare to life, illuminating this hall. This one is a little bit more elaborate design. It's not as Spartan as the previous hall. It is quite, you know, huge in here. There are several huge doors. And then finally, the last torch at the end of the hall illuminates, and you see something that appears to be a stone throne of sorts, and a metal figure sitting upon the throne, wearing what seems to be, you know, silk robes, and it's just still sitting there still.
Begin to walk forward.
The Yeti goes with you. Sarkin takes a knee once he gets a certain distance away. And as he does so, he turns slowly to look at the two of you. And Vex, if he's still there.
Yeah, Vex is still there. Because I didn't dismiss him.
He's waiting for you to do the same. It's quite apparent.
I take a knee.
You would see, if you would look at him, you would see Oliver close his eyes. There was an inward sigh, and he, with difficulty,
You notice that
gets.
as you sigh, my tail kind of comes off to the side up to you, as if giving you something to brace yourself on as you lower yourself down.
You'll see him again. He lifts off his hand to say no thank you. Saying no thank you. And he'll be leaning on his own stick to get down.
Okay.
So, you guys all take a knee. When you do, Sarkin stands back up and just says, prospective students in search of knowledge. And the metal figure nods. Sarkin turns around. And then he kind of like looks at you guys and shifts his eyes towards the metal figure.
Lord Zomnorin. My name is Lucas Lowenkai. My friends call me Loki. I am a sorcerer from Polymire that is here to gain knowledge for some rather ominous troubles that I've discovered throughout my travels.
You just hear the metal figure, And then Sarkin looks at Oliver.
And Oliver bows his head to him. My name is Oliver.
There's a pause.
Oh, sorry. he actually paused after. Oh, sorry. Oliver, I am originally from Himmelster, but I recently moved to Murphswan.
You hear again from the metal figure. And then Sarkin turns to look at Vex.
Vex, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Vex looks a little hesitant.
I know you don't like to, but they obviously know what you are. That guy has spoken directly to you already in your language, which is odd.
So Vex introduces himself again in Ether Talk. So again, Oliver, you hear those echoey, multi-voiced speech. And the metal figure begins to nod. Zomnorin, as you now know, nods. And starts to speak for the first time. His voice is pretty booming and echoey in this hall. So you come in search of knowledge.
Yes, Lord Zomnorin.
Knowledge is what we have here. Not all are ready for knowledge. You have been brought here by one. Do you know what he is?
I look at Sarkin. Can I sense any magic about him?
Yes, of course.
Is he a Geist?
Are you asking me?
I think he might be a Geist.
Is that what you say?
Yes.
You think he may not be living?
I've never seen someone alive who can speak Ether Talk.
He opens his mouth and the same thing goes. There's many of us here speak many a thing. And he says that in Ether Talk, the metal figure.
He is a Yeti?
And you say this because he appears as one.
Or a changeling, but yes.
So what is he?
I'm going to roll an Arcana check. I'm going to look at him and study whatever magic is coming off of him and roll an Arcana check.
Okay. Does Oliver reply in any way?
Oh, he's looking at Loki inquisitively, seeing where he's going with this.
17, that makes it a 20.
And what's the Arcana check for?
See what he is, hopefully.
All right. So Oliver, you're not responding in any way, shape, or form, right? And
I'm
so
sorry, I've missed the question if there was a
yeah,
delay on that.
Zomnurin asked. Zomnurin said you were brought here by one. What is he? In reference to Sarkin. He's asking you,
Oh.
what do you think? Like, what would you say Sarkin is?
I don't understand the question entirely either. Don't worry.
Okay.
So does Oliver respond, or is he staying
Oh.
quiet?
Saber would have a very wonderful answer to that. But yes, Oliver will be. Yeah, I think I'll do. On. Let's see. Can I use? Is there anything for me to go on with historian?
You can. Whatever you choose to roll will color the knowledge you get. I just wanted to know if you would do anything before, you know.
He's contemplating. You would see him contemplate.
All right.
You know, thinking about it.
So, what you see, with your Arcana check, is you see various forms, like residual magic of various schools of magic. You see the teachings of Belenos, disciple of Skadi, scion of Indra. You see, you can identify the creeping dark. This is all within Sarken, right? And you also feel that he is much like Vex, in while you're doing your arcane examination of him, but there's something definitively different about him that you really can't place. That's what your Arcana check reveals.
And Oliver got a 21.
On the history? You're calling back on your knowledge of Akasha, your historical knowledge and what you've read in books. Often the Akashites have a lot of magical knowledge. They practice a lot of things. Some things are rumored to be forbidden magics, darker than the darkest magics allowed to be practiced by heroes. That they practice without boundary, and there are in your readings that there are a lot of rumors of witches and warlocks, people who deal with demons and whatnot, are in Akasha, and run Akasha.
So from that information, Oliver would decipher it as some form of demon.
Okay, so how would Oliver respond?
I don't know, because I didn't think I'd be thinking about all this stuff.
Yeah, what happened to Josh? You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to look forward and say, as much as he is like Vex, he is not. I think he's a sorcerer.
You think he's a sorcerer because he practices magic?
No. He seems tied to the endless sea. I think he is like me.
So what is he?
A witch, warlock, sorcerer, whatever you wish to call it.
And then he looks at Oliver.
Is he an ancient demon?
Has he been unkind to you?
No, but there is different types of demons. There is ones that will harm and are aggressive, and there's others that are and contain knowledge.
Goes, So, what is he? You answered him with a question. You asked, is he an ancient demon?
Ancient demon.
And then you see, Zomnarin begin to speak, and Sarkin speaks at the same exact time. And Loki, you can understand this. Sarkin is speaking in Ether Talk. And Zomnarin is speaking in Common. But they're actually saying the same exact thing at the same exact times. Right?
Does he speak any other languages?
No. And he's saying, here in Akasha, you learn that many are different and many are the same. Not everything you think you see is what you see, and what you see is not always what it is. And as he's saying this, you're noticing Sarkin begin to he starts shrinking, and all of his features bleed away until he just looks like an arcane humanoid form that then starts flattening out, broadening out, and you see 4 blobs of arcane energy that each form into a different animal.
I just looked at the metal form. He's a familiar.
Yes, they are all my familiars.
I look over at Vex. I'm really glad you don't look like a person.
Actually, Zomnarin giggles at this. You just hear. There's much you can do with all that is to learn in the libraries that you will be given access to. Just know, the longer you stay here, the more questions you will inexorably have.
Questions are never a bad thing. Sometimes answers can be.
So, he stands up, raises his hand, and 2 of the animals run to the left of the hall. 2 of the animals run to the right. As they're running, they take that same arcane, blobus, globulous form together, and then you see like a small, little, demonic-looking elf on one end, like a demonic-looking high elf, and on the other end, you see a small, demonic-looking moon elf. They each run to a door. They turn, smile, giggle in unison, and they each open one of the many large doors. And they say, again, in unison, they motion to Loki. One is for the one that thought we were ghosts. And then motion to Oliver. One is for the one that thought we were demons.
Oliver blinks at that. He's wondering what that says about him.
And they both sort of look at both of you now together, and they're shifting their gaze. And they just say, "You were right."
Fascinating.
And they pause, and after you say fascinating, they interrupt anything you were about to say and go, "You were wrong." But they're still looking at both of you. So, one is for one is for the other. Or one is for both. And then they just like shrug their shoulders again the whole time in unison. And you hear Zomnarin just
I look at Zomnarin. Your familiar is a dick.
Interesting.
I'm actually quite fascinated, actually. Um,
I'm fascinated too, but seriously, do they got to talk in unison at both of us at the same time like that?
why not?
Because it's a dick move.
You should visit Crystal Stone.
I've never been to Himmelster. I have a friend who's from there.
Oh, interesting.
He's a Sky King.
Oh, really?
Yes. Kind of a stick in the mud, straight-laced. His name's McAllis. Regardless, I guess I'll choose the Night Elf door.
All right, so you go through the door with the Moon Elf. Oliver, which door do you choose?
Oh, he chooses his door.
So you choose what, the other door?
Yeah.
All right, so you go through the other door. They close the doors behind you, and they walk through with you, closing the doors as they do. And you notice, Lucas, as you walk through the door, you're followed by the Night Elf, who seems to be closing the door. And just before the Night Elf manages to close the door, you see Oliver walk through that same door, followed by the High Elf. And the High Elf looks like she's closing a door. And then the door disappears. And you hear them both giggle at the same time.
See? Dicks.
They start speaking. This time, like, every 3 words, one of them says. And then the next 3 words, the other one says. She goes, "Welcome to Akasha. You'll learn a lot of things here. But we're not that bad. I don't know why you think we're that bad. You have to have fun here. So much work, no play. It's pretty bad. That's the only thing that's bad. Unless you mess up a spell. That could be worse."
Yeah, that's because messing up a spell can kill you.
"No, it can't." They say this both at the same time.
Okay.
"Maybe you." And they both do that in unison.
I'm not an immortal soul, so yeah.
"Well, you are. Just not yet." Did you
Okay,
know
point
that?
taken.
Did you know that? Is this your first lesson? We're glad to give you your first lesson here in Akasha. We hope your stay here is fantastic.
We're all technically immortal souls, though mine is made up of many, apparently.
Well, no. Did you know what you are? We know what you are.
I am a reaver.
Do you know what that is? Hey, Oliver. And they're both saying this at the same time. Do you know what a reaver is?
Loki.
Good answer. Please, come this way. And they say this in unison, but they both motion to 2 different directions.
I go left, you go right?
I suppose so.
This time I'm heading towards the door with the High Elf. That was left.
No, there is no door left.
Oh.
You guys are in a hallway with no door.
They're pointing to random spots on the wall?
No, it's a hallway.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
see where the hallway ends. It's, again, like the big hall. There's lights there, but everything else
Yeah.
is in darkness.
Yeah, keep going down the hall.
So you go left, and you tell Oliver to go right.
Yeah.
So you start walking away, and you're with the Night Elf. You're with the High Elf.
High Elf.
So the High Elf goes, they went right.
Yeah, that was the point.
Yeah, the right way is the right way. This is not the right way.
No, this is okay. Then fine, we'll go back. You're a confusing little shit.
How am I confusing? Are you confused? We'd
From the
understand if you
second
were
I got here.
We'd understand if you were confused. It's a
So I guess
confusing
we'll
life
go.
being what you are. You're kind of
guess
like
we'll go.
us, but not like us.
I guess we'll go back the other way then.
You want to go the right way?
Yes, let's go the right way.
It's not like
Not
we
the
were.
wrong way.
It's not like we were going the wrong way.
Which way is the wrong way? Let's not go that way.
Well, it depends where you want to go, really. And she stops. The high elf. She stops moving. Over there on Oliver's side, they're still going. You can see the torches sparking a light as they're walking down the hall.
Is it a plain corridor or is it like immaculately?
No, it's a pretty plain corridor. It seems to have like a little curve to it as you're walking down. So the farther you get, you just see Loki and the other elf, growing smaller down the corridor and kind of disappearing behind a wall. Because of the curve in the hallway. And the moon elf walking with you is just whistling and giggling. So Loki, what do you do?
I look at the high elf. Bard, take me to where I can find out about possible ways to connect the endless sea to our reality and soul gems.
She nods her head. And, no way.
Why?
You don't know? Well, allow me to teach you. And she goes, I don't know this one. Ah, wait. And she turns to the flat wall. And a large door appears. She opens it, reaches through, and Oliver, you can see a large door appear, and a hand reach through, grab the moon elf, and pull the moon elf through. Do you go through the door, or you just stand there and wait?
Oh, he goes through.
You go through?
Yeah.
All right. So you go through the door, just as the door actually starts to disappear. And the high elf points to Loki. Wait a minute. And they bleed away into an arcane form, mold together, and again you see Sarkhan.
And Oliver's just watching him, smiling.
And Sarkhan goes back into that at ease pose. He goes,
I just look up at Sarkhan. This place is like a horrible acid trip.
Really? You don't think that?
Yes.
You need to see more magic, my friend.
You were warned before proceeding, were you not?
Yes, I was, and I proceeded. So this is technically my fault. Hold on.
They're knocking, but they don't realize the door disappeared. As we take a small pause in this riveting tale.
Okay. Yes, that is technically my fault. However, I need to find out the information I asked your former form.
I only have one form. I am who I am. They are who they are.
I need information about
Is
Draconic Soldier.
Is Vex still there?
Yes.
He slowly turns his head, looks at Vex. He goes, "This is Vex."
Yes, that is Vex.
Is he not other when he is?
Yes. Yes, he is. He is also Spike and Chip.
Spike and Chip are Spike and Chip. He is Vex, as I am Sarkhan.
This was true. I apologize, Sarkhan. I need to know about Draconic Soul Gems, how they can change things, and if there's a possible way to change things back. And I need to know about possible ways to connect demonic realms of the Endless Sea to our realm.
These are answers for very advanced questions.
Yes, and I need to know the string of questions that led up to that in order to stop the answers they have created.
I can help you with this, but the knowledge is quite advanced, quite dangerous.
Guess I gotta learn fast.
He starts walking down the hall. The lights again blaring back on, the torches blaring back to life, lighting the curved hallway. He goes, "How long were you walking down this hall?"
5 minutes?
Ah. So you did not reach its end.
No, we have not reached its end.
So you are in a great deal of a rush.
I think the entire world might be in a great deal of a rush.
So you have not yet discovered the secret of this hall.
No, I have not. This hall's endless, isn't it?
And you see him for the first time grinning. He just nods. There are many pitfalls when searching for knowledge that is to be forbidden from the world. Things that are dangerous, you see.
Yes.
We try to help teach our students to recognize these pitfalls. You see demons of the endless sea. They are not like I or the others. Their forms are theirs alone. They're created from their greed. He's still walking down this endless hall.
Yeah.
He goes, they're created from their endless greed. I exist because the others made me. Not that I made me. I live in service. As do they. And then he closes his eyes, shakes his head. Not the ones of the endless sea. Not the demons from such places as the abyss. They seek to trap you.
Yes.
Teacher and servant of knowledge.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to begin to explain Belladonna to Sarkin.
All right. So you give Sarkin the rundown of this woman who is sort of alive, sort of undead, doesn't really understand where she's at, has a power to rip the souls of men away from them, damn near destroyed your familiars. When you get to that part of the story, he just stops walking, and there's silence. And the entire time he was sort of, yes. But at that point, he just stops. He looks at you. Roll me a d20. Let's see what he says.
8.
8. He goes.
Yeah.
He says that is dangerous.
Yes, I know. And right now she's in the hands of a... Let's call him a rogue. A bandit. Criminal, evildoer. Oh, and a giant troll could probably kill us all with a single punch.
Not all of us.
Okay, me and him. You and Vex would be fine. Unless you were, ripped into whatever pocket of the endless sea Belladonna is connected to.
You know that she's... And he asks you so that you could tell the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Which inexorably lead to the fact that, you tell him how your familiars were chased by a demon, by a single demon, when they were ripped from you.
Yeah.
And you see him, the entire time, he's very patient, composed, fairly rigid as well. Except when you mention that, he just runs his hand over his head. And he stops, and the door, appears again, opens, and through it comes Zomnarin. You can hear the metal of his feet, clanging against the hard stone floor. Sarkin, makes way for Zomnerin. This is not good.
No, it's not.
It seems. It seems that she is connected to a demonic realm. She may be feeding a demon.
Yeah.
And she is not aware of this. This is Zomnerin speaking.
No. We have tried everything to cut her off from this power. We've dispelled her. I hadn't learned to spell shatter yet. So I haven't spell shattered her. Though I'm afraid if I did try, I don't know what it would do.
If only I could examine her. If only she were here. Maybe the others can figure out what to do.
She's in the Two Rivers Forest. Though, there was a ritual that a man named Timbala taught us.
Can you show me this ritual?
Yes.
Alright,
I can show it to you to the best of my memory.
roll me an intelligence check. Because you didn't really practice the ritual after learning it.
15.
Alright, cool. So I guess, time goes by. It's probably a few days. You tell him about the ritual. You get the ingredients. You show him. He practices. You show him. He thinks. He sends Sarkin away in the form of all four of his familiars. They disappear for quite a long time. And eventually he says, "This seems to be a ritual to speak to one's soul, one's spirit, one's inner self."
It protected Timbala from her.
You would need to be protected from a soul that has not already agreed to assist you.
Yes.
You see, some souls would eat yours, and that is how demons are born. What he has done is maybe calmed her. From what you've said, it seems that her abilities may be tied to her emotion.
Very tied to her emotions. And she can, whatever emotion she's in, she can make you feel. When she's happy, when she's truly elated, you become elated. When she's truly sad, depressed, you become sad and depressed. One of my companions cried in a corner for 4 hours.
It appears that she's already touched each and every one of your souls.
Yes.
So her power reaches beyond the ability to take a soul, but to influence itself.
Yes.
He makes motion like he's scratching his head, but you just hear the metal on metal.
Yeah. If one of the things that I fear is if she is not helped, because she's not necessarily evil. She doesn't necessarily mean malice, but if she could ever learn to control her abilities, she could be the most dangerous person in our world.
He nods in agreement. She must be destroyed before that comes to pass.
I was hoping to find a way to cut her off from her powers. But if we have to destroy her, it will be a sad day, but a needed day.
If she was created and not born, her creator is unknown. but she can be destroyed without becoming a demon, if this is the case.
And therein lies the problem. We don't know who or what created her, but we are fairly sure she is a construct of some kind.
If you had the time, maybe we could show you some things in battling this creature.
Unfortunately, I've got to get the airship back to the gnomes. Something tells me that someone here could probably help me do that magically so I can stay and learn.
He just turns to look at Sarkin.
Sorry. Oliver has been, his eyebrows has been, his eyes have been on the top of his head, listening. He's been listening very quietly and observantly, and, but there is a deep fascination in his head, or on his face. And, oh, why don't you send the, we don't send the airship back. And if you need to get back, you can travel on my carpet. Or, I presume, faster travel. We do have arcane gates in this... in the Kasha.
Zamnarin looks at you. He does the best that his tinkered caretaker face can do to grin. And just says, how do you think you were getting around the tower?
Precisely.
Do you have a map?
Of?
Burtonville.
There's no reason for us to have a map of such a faraway place.
Well, if we could just magically send the ship back, I was going to tell you which dock to put it in.
You see the door open up behind you, and through it walks Sarkin. And then he stops, the door disappears, and he stands again in that at ease stance. Who is the owner of the ship? Says Zamnarin.
I tell him the leader of my company, Lawrence Lucas, started with an L. I need to make a note of this. Notes of this shit.
Yeah. You're talking about the lieutenant?
Yeah.
Lieutenant
Not the lieutenant.
Crank.
Yeah, Lieutenant Wobblecrank.
Not Wobblecrank, the guy who actually lent the shit.
Oh, the NCO? That's Emerson.
Yeah, Emerson, that's it. Because I remembered Wobblecrank's name.
Yeah. It was Emerson.
I tell him the person who gave the ship to me was Emerson. I tell him Emerson's full name. But the person who actually owns the ship is probably Lieutenant Wobblecrank.
Military.
Yes.
Given your situation, makes sense.
Mitzelberg military, actually.
Is Vex still around? Like this, it's been like a day or two, going through the ritual and.
Yeah, I'm keeping
cipher.
Vex around.
All right. He turns to Vex, and speaks to Vex in Ether Talk. This is Zamnarin. Would you go back with Sarkin and explain what's going on?
Oh, Vex would shake his head, yes.
So,
Although Vex does look at him and kind of say, I really have to stay in this form, though.
He goes, it would take much knowledge and training. He's speaking in an Ether Talk to Vex on behalf of Lucas for you to be able to take any form other than the one you're in.
Thank God. You see Vex kind of say that, and Lucas kind of like, yeah, thank God. Spike would try to steal whatever he get his hands on.
Interesting. And Sumnerin half bows, makes motion into the air as to, like, go here. As a door appears, midway
Vex
through.
walks right through.
So Sarkin leaves. Sarkin leaves, the view pans over to the skyship. Zarkin splits into all 4 Geists. And they all look like small little humanoids. You could swear they're all goblins. They're either goblins or gremlins. It's a little a little hard to tell. They're all, clothed. They've got elaborate clothing, really tall hats. And they all start working the ship. The ship starts to take off, and it flies forward as a larger door appears right before it, and it flies through. And as it flies through, we see the ship slowly disappear, and the screen will grow to black. And that will be the end of this episode of Hero School Special Soul Searching. Even though I know I probably spelled searching wrong if you're looking at this in the video, but so what?